a step away from the lowballing and the letting clients and individuals undermine us as creators. Because at the end of the day, I want to see you guys eat. I want to eat. And the more that I eat, the hungrier that I get, right? Let me say that again. The more I eat, the hungrier I get. The more I want to go after this, the more I want to continue to consume media and push media out, right? And I think until we hit a point where we're all starting to value ourselves. Welcome to the Praise POV, the podcast where creativity meets strategy and where we talk about what it takes to really build a business, a brand, and a life through media. I'm your host, Judahpraise Acheampong, and today we're going to start off a little simple, right? I want to tell you guys a little bit about myself, what this podcast is about, and share a story that I think every creative can probably relate to, knowing your worth. Let's get into it. Now, I started off like most creatives, right? I had a camera. I realized this is something I enjoyed, but I had no real intention behind it. I didn't really necessarily know what I wanted to do. Funny enough, I was actually in school to be a nursing major, and then I realized very quickly that I don't actually like touching people. That's not what I enjoy doing. And for me, I come from a family of nurses. My mom's a nurse, sister's a nurse, younger sister is a CNA, about to become a nurse eventually. Now, in terms of who I am, I am really just a regular guy. I got into photography in 2019 when I took a journalism class my senior year of high school. I was really just looking for a class that was going to be easy. I wasn't trying to do the most. Fortunately and unfortunately for me, I was graduating during the COVID-19 pandemic, right? And as we all know, it really changed a lot. Up until March, when school shut down, I was really starting to find a passion for photography. I was really enjoying going to football games, taking pictures, going and pulling students out of class to interview them or take their picture for the yearbook and stuff like that. And from there, I was just like, okay, this might be something that I want to kind of take a little bit more seriously. Let's go to March. Governor shuts down school for 2 weeks, as we all know, and ended up being for the rest of the year. And they threw us out of school. For me, this was a blessing and a curse, right? So for the blessing part, right, I ended up being able to take my school camera with me because things happened so abruptly. No one had enough time to kind of take our school cameras away from us. So at least for me personally, I still have my school camera for the entire COVID-19 senior year period. So during that time, I'm going on hikes, hanging out with my best friends, taking photos, doing all those kinds of things. And I was like, okay, dang, I really enjoy doing this. Now, the icing on the cake was during that time, one of my friends who was also graduating that year as well, she and her mom are both graduating simultaneously at different schools, but they wanted to do a joint grad photo shoot. And mind you, this was my first photo shoot that I was getting paid for. And my first time to kind of like pitch myself, price myself, right? She hit me up and she was like, how much would you charge? I didn't know what photographers charge. I didn't really do too much research. I knew that some photographers were expensive and some were cheap, but I just wanted money. So I threw out a number. I threw out $300. And lo and behold, they said, yeah. They said, okay, that's fine. And if they're watching this, I hope they don't remember this, but if they're watching this, I was in that weird stage of not really knowing how to price myself and how to really give a price that was worth what I was doing and the work that I put in. But anyway, we shoot. They love the photos. I send them to them, and from there, it was literally wrapped from there. I literally realized that, okay, wow, now I can make money taking pictures. I can go out and do something that I actually enjoy. And believe it or not, I'm an introvert, but during the period of a photo shoot, right, or editing, I really do feel empowered. I personally feel like I can be someone else, right? Someone a little bit more outgoing, a little bit more energetic, that kind of thing. So I really do enjoy photo shoots. So all those factors kind of coming together really just made me think, okay, wow, this might be something I want to do. Fast forward to college, I ended up transferring to James Madison University, go Dukes. And from there, it was literally an eye-opening experience. One, I'd never been around so many people with so many different hobbies, so many different like ideas, so many different styles before in my life. Born in Ghana, but grew up in Lynchburg, Virginia, the majority of my life. So the people in Lynchburg uh, were really all I knew. I hadn't really traveled around too much. Now, when I get to college, like I said, it was completely different. In college, I met a group of friends and I started reaching out to them and it was like, hey, I have this idea. I have this passion. I want to share it with you. Can I take your photo for free? That kind of thing. And we were doing free photo shoots back to back to back. We were literally building up my portfolio at a stupid fast rate. And it was just so eye opening and wonderful. And I loved it. Now, also at JMU, I got the opportunity to start working for University Marketing and Branding as well as JMU Sports. So I was literally building so many different things, growing my portfolio, just pursuing my passion. Now, the downside of all of this is that I was doing this all while also being a nursing major. Now, like I said before, I don't like touching people. I'm not a physical person. But at that point, with my African upbringing, as well as the fact that the majority of my relatives and siblings are within that healthcare profession, I felt somewhat pressured to do this. My parents were, I love you parents, but I felt like they were really pushing me to do this. And for me, that wasn't really something I was interested in doing. Now, after a certain point, the nursing game was really pushing me down. Like I was stressed, depressed. I was just in bed. I wasn't hanging out with people. Like it was just a really bad time in my life. So after a certain point, I was just like, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. There was a career fair. I ended up going to there was a major fair. I ended up going to the major fair. And I was specifically looking for a photography major, but JMU doesn't have a photography major. But what they do have is a SMAD program. SMAD stands for the School of Media Arts and Design. They have a variety of different concentrations: digital video and cinema, journalism, interactive design, and I want to say there's one more. But I can't remember what it is. I was media arts and design with a concentration in digital video and cinema and a minor in Italian. The minor in Italian, we're not even going to talk about that. Now, when I dropped the nursing major, things really started to change for me. I really started to be able to explore and have the amount of fun that I really wanted to do in college. And as you know, college is a time where you're really exploring, trying to find yourself and everything like that. So I started doing a bunch of different things, started joining groups, I pledged Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated in 2022. And from there, I just continued to grow and everything like that. From there, I've just had the opportunity to do everything under the sun that I've ever wanted to do. I've traveled an insane amount. I get to head to big events like the Congressional Black Caucus, where I'm able to capture photos of Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett or Attorney Ben Crump or Mayor of Baltimore, Maryland, Brandon Scott, Mayor of Birmingham, Alabama, Randall Woodfin. So I've really gotten the opportunity to do a lot and see a lot. And the cherry on the cake, cherry on the icing on the cake is that even on top of that, I'm also doing more. I also work for the Washington Commanders, the greatest NFL team in the league, and that has really just been a blessing for me. And I'll talk a little bit about how I got that position later on down the line. But all of that to say, I really came with the realization that as a 23-year-old entrepreneur, creative, photographer, videographer, just motivated individual, there was just so much that was happening to me. There was so much that I was seeing, so much that I was doing, and it was just like, I want to share this with other people. A lot of what I learned, yes, I had amazing teachers in the SMAD program. Yes, I had photographers in my hometown who kind of gave me advice and showed me exactly how to do what I wanted to do. Yes, I also had other photographers and mentors who I looked up to that I reached out to, and they were more than willing to share their knowledge. But a good bit of what I did, a good bit of what I learned was based off of YouTube University, right? Which I think is the holy grail of photographers. Like, yes, you can buy $100, $200, $300 courses on how to master photography, videography, and things of that nature. But there are so many photographers, videographers, content creators, media moguls, whoever it is, business people, right, who are out here doing the darn thing, and they're giving out free game on Instagram, YouTube, wherever it may be, right? Some of my favorites being Stretch Life Visuals, Guy Photo, uh, uh, Kev Photography. I know that's not his like actual pen, but those are some of the three people who I really look up to, who I watched as I was growing in my photography and videography, and being able to see the work that they were doing, being able to see how they were achieving the results that they were achieving was so eye opening, and I wanted to take a part in that. I wanted to be a part of that, right? So I had really started to formulate the idea of a podcast for a while, and it was just like, how can I get this done? There's so many hoops and things, and I don't know. I thought it was this big, convoluted, complicated thing, but in reality, it really isn't. And I don't know. A couple weeks ago, I just had this feeling in my chest, this pain in my chest, this idea in my head. It was like, I gotta stop pushing this off. Right now on TikTok, at least last month, there's this huge trend called the Great Lock-In, and I was trying to participate in that, and I was trying to go after what I really wanted and just really like dedicate myself to these things. And even then, I still found myself falling short. But where I was falling short, I felt in my heart, I was like, okay, I still want to do this. I still want to be passionate about this. I need to. And it's like, there's so many times where I can put it off. There's so many times that I can like be like, okay, not right now. I'm going to do this later. But I just felt super motivated and super just led to do this. So that's where this podcast came from. And I know it's a lot of rambling. I know there's a lot of things that I'm saying that you're like, this guy's all over the place. But man, oh man, let me tell you, the fact that I've been able to drop this trailer and now I'm currently recording this episode is so absolutely like it does something to me. Like it makes me feel so happy. And my main goal with this podcast is to, one, build a community. I want us to be able to come together as photographers, as videographers, as creatives, and be able to help each other grow. Like there may be some things that one of my guests knows that I don't know, and they can educate me so then I can be a bit better creative all around. The next thing I want to do is I want to create a roadmap. I want to map out my own personal journey. I gave you a bit of what I've done so far. And yes, I promise you that is the abridged version. As long as that's the abridged version. But there's so much more that I want to do. There's so much more that I can do. And I think that with this podcast, being able to document and record everything that I'm passionate about and everything that I'm doing bit by bit, piece by piece each week with different individuals and things like that, that's really going to give me the opportunity to really create something, right? To really create a blueprint. So if the next generation wants to come and tell their parents, hey, mom, dad, I don't want to be a doctor, a lawyer, a nurse, whatever it is. I want to pursue this media life, right? I want to go all into this media game. Then I want that to be something that they are able to do because they have a blueprint, they have a rough draft on how they can do it, and not just how they can do it, but how they can do it well, successfully, and create a viable business. That is my passion, that is my dream, and that is what I want to do. And then, obviously, I just want to share stories, educate you guys, and things of that nature. But for me, that is really the reason why I started this podcast. That's really why I want to do this the way that I want to do this, and this is why I'm so passionate about what we're doing so far here, right? Now, during my little ramble, during my rant, I mentioned how that first client reached out to me and was like, hey, I want to book you to shoot these grad photos. And I just threw out a number. And realistically, that number was not what I was worth at that time. That I still relate to that now. I think the biggest thing that I struggle with, the biggest thing that creatives struggle with is their self-worth. A client hit me up. She told me that her daughter was getting married. I went to high school with her daughter. And as we were talking, she asked me for my price. I've shot a plethora of weddings. I've been very blessed to be able to shoot a bunch of weddings, second shoot mainly, but I've done some weddings on my own. And from there, I gave her my price. I gave her a price that I thought was fair, but also reflected myself and my journey and things of that nature, because this would be one of the first weddings that I've soloed or I've led on my own. Like I said, I've done some in the past, but I haven't done a super a crazy amount to where I would say that I'm a master in the game, right? I gave her my number. She was within the same minute of me sending her the text saying, hey, this is my price. She hit me back. She was like, that's awesome. We'll take it. Let's do it. Can you send the paperwork, the contract, the invoice? I can pay the deposit, X, Y, and Z, ABC, all that stuff. And me, I felt good. I was like, okay, I gave her this number. I felt like this is what I deserved. I felt like this represented my worth. And let me tell you, it wasn't a small number. At least to me, it wasn't a small number. At least it wasn't a small number to me at all. But let's fast forward to when we had our consultation call. So I'm sitting on a call with her and her daughter, and we're just chopping it up. We're just talking. We're going through my step list, step by step, making sure that each piece of information that is needed, I have. They know where they can find the invoice, the contract, all these different things. And as we're talking about the pricing, I'm talking what the pricing breaks down into, so they know exactly what they're paying for. She looks at me, cocks her head to the side a little bit. She's like, Judah, I've seen your work, and you should be charging way more. Now, that blew me back, because I'm still in a space where it's like, okay, I have potential clients, I have leads, and they'll hit me up, they'll like my work, and they'll be like, hey, what is your price? And I will type my price for whatever the event, wedding, grad shoot, whatever it is, and they'll disappear. I won't hear from them again. I'll be left on red, or they'll just be like, no thanks. And it's just like, or they'll hit me with one of the craziest ones where it's like, okay, oh, I have a photographer over here who can do it for X, Y, and Z, or I was quoted by another photographer for X, Y, and Z. Respectfully, if you have another photographer who will do it for cheaper, fully go after them. And that's not anything cocky, but it's the reality where it's like, I know my worth. I know that I put painstaking hours into the skills and the things that I have. So if you have another photographer who's willing to do it the same, then do the same thing for a cheaper price. I say go after them and use them, because the quality will not be the same as what I can produce. Now, two, I don't know where I remember I saw this from, but there's a saying, right? You can get something cheap, fast, or in good quality. You can only have two of those, and you won't have one. So you can have something cheap and fast, but it won't be good quality. You can have something good quality and cheap, but it's probably going to take a while. And then you can have something cheap, and then you can have something good quality and fast, but it will not be cheap. So the reality is, a lot of the people outside of the photographer world or the creative world, they don't understand pricing. So they kind of relate, what they can do with their iPhones or Androids, or what their best friend's cousin's uncle can do with his ASPC sensor camera, his little hobbyist camera. And they try to tell you what you're worth. But the reality is that you have to understand two things. One, your worth is based on the work that you've done and the work that you put into it leading up to that point, and the work that you're going to put into this specific project. Those two things come together and to create your worth. What someone might understand is the work that you're going to do for them, and that's how they valued it. Okay, so if I'm gonna ask you to shoot 2 hours, a birthday shoot 2 hours, they might be like, in their head, they might value it at like $300, right? And that's not a terrible price, especially if you're just now starting. But the reality is, for a 2 hour session for you, that might be the culmination of 6-7 years of grinding and putting in the work and being able to like really understand that, okay, this is all the work that I put in to get to here, to get to a point where you're having this client even come and talk to you, to ask you to do this session, to ask you to do this shoot. Now, if you aren't aware of those two things, you're not going to be able to accurately price yourself. And when I say that, I really think that a lot of us, a lot of us creatives, a lot of us videographers, photographers, we aren't the most extroverted people. We can be extroverted in our shoots, in our time to shine, but the reality is we're not extroverted people in general. So when it comes to putting our price out there and we feel the client gives us a little bit of pushback, most of us are going to shudder under that pushback, and either we're going to drop the price to something that can appease the client, or we're just gonna not really push for what we actually deserve, And I'm the exact same way. I'm really working on breaking those habits. But at the end of the day, your price is your price. You got to really understand, not everyone's going to see the hundreds of thousands of hours that you put to get to here, and not everyone's going to see the hours upon hours that you put into generating this, whether it's editing these photos or editing this video or creating this graphic or designing this website or whatever it might be. Like, this moment made me realize that the price isn't just about the photos. It's about the hours of practice, vision, and responsibility we carry as creatives to deliver something meaningful and high quality. And if we don't value it, we'll become known as, oh, that cheap photographer. Like, there's a bunch of groups on Facebook where it's like cheap, low price photographers. And it's like, that's such a bad look. That's so that has such a negative impact on the photography, freelance industry in general, because it's like, okay, it makes it harder for photographers, videographers who have quality products, who have quality things that they can give to people. It makes the clients want to go to, oh, I got Bob Diddle Bob over here who can do a 6-hour wedding coverage for $200-$300, whereas somebody else who has been putting their time and energy into this is charging like a couple thousand for 6-8 hours, right? It's not a good look. It's very frustrating, and I think that we as a creative group, as a creative unit, we need to take a step away from the lowballing and the letting clients and individuals undermine us as creatives. Because at the end of the day, I want to see you guys eat. I want to eat, and the more that I eat, the hungrier that I get, right? Let me say that again. The more I eat, the hungrier I get. The more I want to go after this. The more I want to continue to consume media and push media out, right? And I think until we hit a point where we're all starting to value ourselves as individuals in terms of our creative expertise and abilities, and we have to be realistic. If you've only been shooting for a year, or let me stop, because even a year, there's some photographers who will only be shooting for a year, and they are some of the best photographers I've ever seen. If you've only been shooting for a short period of time and you haven't really put too much energy to learn the basics, like the exposure triangle, framing, composition, things of that nature, don't go out of your way and charge someone an arm and a leg. Because if you're going to puff up your chest and spit out these big numbers, you better be able to spit out quality that matches or even supersedes the price. Because what you don't want to be known as is the photographer or videographer who charges a lot for very piss poor content or quality. Because at the end of the day, if you're charging a lot and you're not putting out good work, your business cannot thrive. Your business cannot thrive. People are not going to hire you. And for our space, a lot of things go through word of mouth. This all happens through word of mouth. So people are going to start to talk. And as they start to talk, they're going to hear about you. They're going to have something to say about you. And at the end of the day, what do you want them to say about you? Do you want them to say, oh, this is an expensive photographer, but the work he produces is phenomenal? Or is this a cheap photographer? They produce really good work, but they don't charge a lot. So you could probably get them to do a lot and like not have to spend too much. Or would you rather be the cheap photographer who doesn't do crazy work, but since they're not paying a lot, they don't expect too much? And I'm not really a fan of that one either, because I want you to grow. Don't just do the bare minimum so you can get the bare minimum, right? And then finally, the worst of worst is the photographer who charges a lot for content that is below what it should be. And yes, you're gonna have some odd clients who are like, oh, this and this and this, and really just saying that as a way to just kind of like either like get their money back, or even just like I'm gonna say is you're gonna always have complicated, difficult clients. But the reality is you have to be ready to stand 10 toes on your platform, but also be self-aware and know that you have what it takes to give whatever price you're trying to give. Don't let people undermine you. Don't let people put you down. Don't let people value you more than you value yourself, and don't let people undervalue you. There's only two people in this world who have a say on your value, right? That's yourself and then the man above. Anyone else, they're unable to see the full scope of work that you put in to get to where you are. So they can't really speak on you or what you're trying to do, if that makes sense. Now, here's what I've learned since. There's a difference between what you charge and what you're worth. The number changes with experience and as you grow, but the value comes from you continuing to show up, whether it's showing up to shoots, whether it's showing up and learning more and growing your content, whether it's showing up and having to unfortunately buy more equipment so you can level up your game, right? And charge for both your craft and your confidence. You're not just taking pictures, you're creating a legacy, you're creating a business that if everything goes the way that it needs to go, will last a long time and create some generational wealth for you, your family, your loved ones, and on and on and on. But that's all for now. Thank you guys for tuning into the very first episode of the Praise POV. I talked a lot, but I'm super excited to get this edited and get this through to you guys. Let me know what you guys think. If this episode helped you or made you think differently about your own creative journey, subscribe, share it with another photographer or creative who needs to hear it, and then follow me on Instagram at praise.portraits and check out my work at www.portraitsbypraise.com. I'd love to connect with you guys. But until next time, keep creating, keep growing, and remember, your vision has value. See you guys later.